Hello and welcome to another episode of Philam Creative's Voices. This is our podcast talking about Filipino Americans who are in the creative field. And Philam Creative, we're an organization of, as we say, creatives. A lot of filmmakers, fashion designers, artists. And I mean, what would you say we do, Arlene?
We do so much. We bring a lot of very important topics out coming from Hollywood. We create platforms for Filipino Americans in the creative departments. It's pretty much like everything that you can think of when it comes to crew, talent, photographers, fashion,
actors, and writers. And like myself, I'm Walter Talens. I am the vice president of Philam Creative. And this is Arlene Dela Pena.
Howdy.
We are your hosts for today. And who's our guest for today?
We have Miss Mia Cortez.
And it's going to be an awesome time talking to her because she's a friend of yours. And
she's a powerhouse, guys. I'm so excited to have her here today. She owns her own production company. Her hustle is so strong, guys. She started from the bottom up doing PA work. She also used to be a dancer on Wild and Out. And do you dance, Walter? That's the real question.
In the clubs, yeah.
Let's show us some moves. What's your go-to? Don't be shy. It's okay.
I don't think we can show what I.
Oh, it's like that.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't think.
Only certain nights can you see Walter.
Pretty much.
Dance.
Saturday nights at. No, I'm just kidding. It's this is a rated G show, so I don't think I can dance on screen for you.
Oh, okay.
Sorry,
Mom.
Whoa.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of Filipino Americans, we're so multi-talented, right? So we have a lot of people who can sing, who can dance, different types of dancing out there, from like hip hop to lyrical. Like so much.
And I feel like the funny thing is, like, we do it for fun or we do it as a hobby. But I think the best part about who we are now and the Philam Creative is it's not just a hobby for us anymore. We're actually trying to promote it, and people are trying to make a living doing the arts, because for so long we're told, like, you can't do the arts, you have to be a nurse or a doctor or an accountant.
Hey now.
But as Philam Creative, we try to celebrate the creatives, the people who dare to be different, who dare to go for their dreams, right? Like, we all had different professions. You were a dancer before too, but you were a nurse.
I danced for fun. I used to do kind of like competitive hip hop dancing back in the day.
Yeah, what was the name of your dance group?
I mean, I was actually a break dancer in the 90s, guys.
Roll some tape. No, I'm just kidding.
You know what? There was a meme that recently came out about me, and that's kind of what I looked like when I was breakdancing. Y'all should check it out sometime.
Actually, amazingly enough, I wasn't really sure. There's this photo, and I don't know if we might cut to that photo right now. And like that. And it was for Mary Grant's production, who is a friend of Philam Creative and Philam Creative's podcast Voices. She's been our guest. And Arlene was on the shoot with her. And
we recently did a production, and we're doing like a series of skits. And it's funny because, like, one of the characters, we needed somebody to be a liquor store owner during this liquor store scene. And of course, like, thank you to Island Blue for, giving us this
shirt.
awesome parody shirt. Parody of Harry Potter. Y'all can just look at the picture. I won't even say it. But so anyhow, like, we were trying to think, like, what's a good, like, liquor store? Like, we want it to be like this awkward moment where the guy comes in and he's like looking for this thing, and he sees this liquor store owner, and it's me. But I tried to channel a different Arlene.
What I will give you is that I didn't know if that was a current photo or an old photo.
It's
I
good,
will give
right?
that to you. Yeah.
It's an awesome throwback look from the 90s.
That being said, going back to throwback look, we're going to go meet with Mia and talk to her about dancing and being a dancer and doing skits in Wild and Out when she was in MTV. So we'll be right back with Mia Cortez.
Today's episode brought to you by the good folks at Filipino Worker Center. From the heart of historic Filipino town, PWC focuses on providing programs that help meet the immediate needs of workers and their families, while at the same time building their leadership to take collective action for long-lasting change.
And welcome back. We are here with Mia Cortez, producer. And Mia, welcome to our show.
Thanks. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, hey, Arlene's here too. Sorry.
No,
see,
sorry.
see how he just forgets about me?
We don't
me
forget.
completely.
Well, when your guest is this stunning, I kind of forget that Arlene's with me. Sorry.
True. It happens all the time. That's why I got to be like this.
She'll get on you too. She's
That's true.
Like that.
Mia knows.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, Andrew's told me.
Well, it's truth. It's truth, guys. It's truth.
So yeah, welcome. Tell us,
you.
how have you been, and what's
Yeah.
new with you?
Good, busy, lots of late work nights, lots of traveling recently. My company with Thomas Camp is called Studio in the Sky, and our busiest months are probably November to February. So we are just getting over that hump right now.
Nice.
But yeah, still a lot.
How many
going
projects do you have going on currently?
Probably at least 8
Oh my gosh!
simultaneously.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. It's
Wow,
a lot
so-
going on.
For our audience, can you explain to them, like, what is Studio in the Sky, and what do you guys do?
Sure, yeah. Studio in the Sky is an editing company that specializes in trailers and promos, sizzles, development project, branded content. So yeah, brands will just come to us and ask us to do content for them digitally. And yeah, and sometimes we'll also do trailers and promos for films and existing TV shows.
Awesome.
And what or how long ago did you start this company?
Tom Muscamp started it actually about 3 years ago. And it was perfect timing because I had been the director of post-production for a post facility in Los Angeles, and they were shutting down their LA office. So this was around the time that he was starting up the company, and it was just, I guess, amazing timing, and I was just going to help out for a while, and then yeah, it just kind of blew up, and here we are now 3 years later, still doing it.
What would you say started you in the path being producer and editor?
That's a good question, actually. I think that there's always a part of, as a producer, there's always like things that are innate in you, even like growing up, like you like making things happen, right? So producers just make things happen. And from an early age, I was just kind of that person. And I think just the universe directed me into a position like this. But, you know, more practically speaking, I started as a PA. I started from the very bottom and I worked my way up to a producer. Yeah.
Nice.
And now, are you born and bred in LA, or
No.
where did you grow up?
So I actually was born in the Philippines. So I was born in Pasay.
Okay.
And I came here when I was 3. And I lived all over, well, I wouldn't say all over Southern California, but I lived in San Diego, lived in the Inland Empire a little bit. And then about 10 years ago, I moved to Los Angeles by myself. My family's still like an hour east of here. I still visit them pretty often. But yeah, LA's just a different world completely.
I
Even
think
an
a lot
hour
of
away.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will agree with you on that.
Yeah.
So being the talented woman that you are, I heard you're a phenomenal dancer.
Oh, girl.
Sample.
We'll do a break. We'll do a battle after.
So how did you get your start in dancing in LA?
Yeah, I guess that's also, I know this is just like a crazy story. It's honestly just the right place at the right time. Like my story is, I feel like, is more of the exception. Like it's not really common because my best friend wanted to go to a taping of a show, an MTV show. And I was like, oh, I want to go. So we went, and I saw that they had dancers on the show. And somehow I met one of the producers, and I just asked. I mean, like,
Wow.
I literally just asked. I was like, how do the girls get on the show? And mind you, like, I was very young. So call it being naive, calling it being bold, I don't really know. But, I mean, that's just who I am. And I was like, how do they get on the show? And he's like, well, they audition. And I said, well, how do I audition? And he's like, well, give me a call. We'll set up an interview. And then I went to the production office about, like, I want to say a week or two later. And it was actually at Gower Studios.
Okay,
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
It was at Gower Studios. And I met him. I met some of the other people in the production office. And that was pretty much it. And I was like, okay, great. And mind you, I had never really been on a professional audition before, so I had no idea what I was doing.
Were you trained as, you were trained as a dancer
Yeah.
prior leading up to.
Correct, yeah. So I had been trained as a dancer, but I had never done anything professionally.
Like, how many years of dancing have you done at that point? You would say?
And
I
type
mean-
of dancing.
Well, I was trained in jazz, contemporary, ballet, tap, hip hop. I mean, I had a very, very amazing dance mentor. Dance mentors, actually, two of them. And I learned a lot from them. And I think also I had just always loved dance from a very young age. But up until that point, I had never even thought about dancing in Hollywood. It was just really stroke of the luck. And again, like, I wish I could give you guys like the secret sauce and be like, this is what you got to do to like get that audition. But honestly, I asked. I think if I had to give any kind of advice, I would just say, you know, closed mouths don't get fed. Just ask for the opportunity. And what are they going to say? No? Okay, that's fine. But at least you can ask.
Yeah, that's amazing. I
Yeah.
mean, I guess what I'm getting from your story is that ask, but also be prepared,
Yeah, for sure.
because
So this is just like such a dancer's question
Yeah.
I have to
Yeah.
ask, because I'm always so curious. Like, so clearly you have to prepare some type of audition in knowing the show, you know, with Wild and Out and the type of dance that they did. Did you just prepare like a hip hop routine, or like what? How did you like go into it?
Completely just freestyled it.
Did you really? What song? What was your song?
Oh, I don't even remember at this
so
point.
you just walk into a room and then they're like, you pop in the tape, you tell,
Yeah,
and then, or
basically.
not tape.
Pop in the tape.
I don't know, like CD player.
This is no
what was it
longer
back-
amateur night,
Yeah.
guys.
laser disc. I don't know.
Pressed play on a laptop and music came out of the speakers.
Or you have someone come in with a beat, you know,
Yeah.
beatboxing, whatever.
Yeah, no, it was.
You see shows like, you know, like reality shows like the Dallas Cowboy Cheerleaders,
Yeah.
and what their auditioning is like to dance professionally.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's like very different, of course, but it always just seems so nerve wracking and like they're so cutthroat. Like,
Yeah. And again, I think it was me being young and naive, and I think that actually helped me because I wasn't thinking about like I didn't feel so much pressure because I wasn't in a room with 1,000 other girls.
Yeah.
You know, it was just like, hey, here's me. This is who I am. If you love me, great. If you don't, that's okay. And I've always just had that kind of I guess mental attitude about myself. It's like, this is who I am, and I hope that you know, can accept that. And if not, then I'm happy to move on. But it worked out great, and
how many seasons did you do?
Is this on record or off record?
Whatever you want to tell us, we'll just say, okay, great.
We did it. Okay, I did a season. I did a season, and that opened a lot of other doors for me. Which was amazing because at the time when I got Well and Out, I didn't actually have a manager or an agent. I got that literally by myself.
Wow.
Just speaking to people and networking.
Good for you.
Yeah. So that was a really amazing opportunity. And from there, I did like music award shows, and I did like other music videos, and then and then I started to transition into a different career, but
Okay, and
that lasted for a while.
I just because I was gonna ask you like about how you transitioned, but something just occurred to me, like just having the confidence itself to ask, and just having confidence in yourself, and just being able to perform and like when it's asked. Would you say that came from like how you were brought up or how your parents supported you like through the arts because they were already sending you to dancing school, right? And all this stuff like.
You know, my parents, I think a lot of people can relate to this. Like my story about my parents is very similar to many others. They worked very hard. We didn't have a lot of money, so they had to do whatever they had to do to work. And so I actually put myself through dance. I didn't.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I had 2 jobs when I was 15. I didn't ask for any money from them because I mean they helped me when they could and for certain things in life, absolutely. But I tried really hard to not take anything from them, and so I did. I think my point is that working and supporting yourself from a young age, you kind of, I guess, develop that kind of confidence and that kind of like self-worth and know that you have to bring something to the table.
Do you know what your Myers-Briggs personality, have you ever done it?
No.
The test? Oh my gosh, you totally should.
Yeah.
Check out Myers-Briggs.
Okay.
Do you know yours?
I don't remember like the breakdown. It's Myers-Briggs is like psychology, like personality breakdown.
It's a really
like,
long test.
with
Oh,
you know,
okay.
it says and then it breaks down like you're extrovert, introverted, blah blah blah. It's like a different mixture of personalities.
I feel like I'm like extroverted and introverted. Can you be both?
Yeah, so there's different, you could be like somewhere on the spectrum, like an extreme extrovert to like almost like you're a hybrid.
Or
Yeah.
serial
You're a little
killer.
bit.
Serial killer. Where do you land there?
I'll send you a little fun quiz
Okay.
on Facebook or something.
Okay, that'll
It's
be
it's a
fun.
short version, but I'm an ENTJ, which is not a common thing.
Yes. I actually have
So.
seen that on Facebook, so
Yes.
I am familiar with it. I just haven't taken
Yeah.
it.
The funny thing is every time, kind of a tangent, but every time I see that like ENTJ, I think of like I Know Jay or remember
Know
the
Jay.
singer?
Hey, throwback music.
Along with my laser disc or CD, right?
Your tape.
My
Your
tape.
tape.
I heard that was actually coming back. Someone, I was just talking to a friend of mine, and they were saying like
Are
they're
you talking
claiming
to
like
Rodney? Was he talking to you?
they're claiming like all the hipsters were like they're trying to bring back cassette tape and like.
But you have to like
that's the thing.
rewind and stuff and like, you know.
How about vinyls?
Well, I mean that's back. I think technically.
Does it ever go away?
I mean, yeah, I think it.
I
went
don't know
down
about
in
tapes, dude.
the cassette tape, you know, boom boxes. Like
I still have my old
80s are coming
boombox.
back, especially when Ready Player One comes out.
Oh my god, I can't wait for
Ready.
that movie.
Sorry, nerd talk. Going back to your family. No. But no, but that's amazing that you put yourself through dance and like it clearly it's a passion of yours and something
Yeah,
you wanted to
absolutely.
do. And I think like our viewers should really take heed with that and like take that to heart. It's like you want something bad, find a way to like take it.
Yes, absolutely. And I also feel that when you feel something so deeply and so passionately, I feel that, and this is my experience also, is that the universe will manifest that for you. And whatever your spiritual belief is, I mean, to me, it's just things will happen for you if you really, really can believe that. That you, not just that you love something, but you also deserve it. And also you're willing to work for it. So a lot of people will want something deeply, but like, I guess just expect it to happen. Obviously, it doesn't work that way, right? Like this is
Right.
The Secret, right? The Secret. Have you read the book?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's basically that's what it is. It's like if you want something deeply, like you have to manifest it by believing it and believing that you like already have it. And I am a big believer in that, and I also work very hard.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I can vouch for Mia's work ethic. Oh my gosh, like her social media, like it's so fancy. You see her everywhere. But the truth is, she's like always working. Like you literally, wherever you're at, you're always working. And I had an opportunity to work with Mia, really work for Mia and Tom, which was quite the experience. And just I was so honored.
She saved my life a lot.
I
that
was during
time.
the Christmas time hustle, which
Yes.
it was fun, and I, knowing how, I guess like from what I saw on social media and just kind of, you know, reading like different posts and what you're doing to really seeing you work in action. My gosh, like
Oh, thank you.
I was so happy to, you know, have you come on as one of our guests, because like I feel like people, if they don't, the people who know you know, they know, and more people need to know who you are and what you do, because you legit have made things happen on such a huge scale, and it really comes down from your work ethic, like both you and Tom. Don't make me cry.
Don't make me cry.
Yeah. I mean, like, because it's so fascinating. Like, you have so many talents, from being a dancer and then, you know, moving to the production side of the house and really starting from a PA.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, so how did you go from dancing, and then you said you had all these other opportunities,
Sure.
and then going starting from literally like the bottom all the way up?
And you know, that was a time where I had to check my ego for sure, and my pride, because I went from in front of the camera to being behind the camera, and you know, that's definitely a transition. I am not above doing that, obviously. I did it and I loved it, and I don't regret it. I was dancing and I was booking, things were great. I still love dance as my passion, but I felt like there was still a void. Like, I felt like, and maybe I always come back to, I wasn't really making a lot of friendships, like a lot of connections in dance, for whatever reason. And I met amazing people. It wasn't like I didn't find any friends, but for some reason I wasn't finding what I needed. And so one day a friend of mine asked if I wanted to be a PA on a show, and I was like, "What's that?"
It's a trap.
And I was like, "I have no experience doing that. I don't." He was like, "Don't worry about it." He's like, "It's fine. You learn on the job." And I was like, "Okay, cool." So then I loved that experience. Actually, and that's where I really connected with people, was on the production side. And I mean, people who know me know that I am a tech nerd, and I have that layer to me. And I really connected with that, and with people who are multi-layered. You know, I love people who have different facets to them. You know, you can be beautiful and smart and nerdy, and you know, all these different layers, and I love that about people. And I just found so many of those people in production. So I was doing dance and production for a while, and then I started to think, like, where's my path? Where am I going to go? And I decided that dance is still going to always be a passion of mine. Like, if something's a passion, it never goes away, right?
Yeah.
So you'll always just have it in your heart, and you'll always do it. But I just decided that it wasn't going to be what paid my bills. And so I did another PA job, and like more and more, I just felt like this is where I really belonged. And I started meeting some of my lifelong, like my friends now, like my closest friends now are in production or started in production. And yeah, so I just kind of went with it. And I started as a PA freelancing on different TV shows for CBS, MTV, for, I think it was Lifetime even. And then I got staffed. I was offered a staff position at a production company in a very successful production company, which groomed me, basically. It was like my boot camp. I like to call it my boot camp. And
did you see a big difference from the freelance world of production becoming staff? Like, what were the big differences that you saw there?
Yeah, I guess the difference was not having to look for a job, you know, not having to constantly hustle. But I was constantly hustling, just in a different way. Like, I wasn't networking to find my next job, but I was networking to get to my next position, because I wasn't just trying to be a PA forever, obviously. So, like, I want to know, hey, what do you do? Oh, okay, you're an AD. Oh, what do you do? You're a camera op, or you're an audio mixer. I want to know everything about production, because I want to know where my path is going to go. And I'm always fascinated by people in general. Like, I love people and connecting with them and hearing their stories. So that was my thing at that production company.
At
And
what point did you figure it out that you really want to be a producer?
yeah, that's a really good question.
Like, did you just try out all these different?
I didn't. I didn't try a lot of different positions. I think I just watched. I observed people, and I was like, I think that's what I want to do. And also, I was in the field. When I was a PA, I did the field first, and I was a set PA. And then when I became a staff position, a staff PA, then I was more in post, and so that did guide my career a bit. So I
now
started,
it's making sense.
yeah. So I started seeing producers coming in. I saw editors, and I was like, oh, this is a whole different world. Like, okay. Putting the story together, that's fascinating to me. Again, like I always go back to the story, to people's stories. I love the story, and that's what drew me to becoming a producer.
And going back to what you said as an editor, or what did you pick up from those the stories? Like, actually, let's talk about what shows did you edit first of all.
Well, I want to say I'm not an editor. I'm a producer, so I wasn't editing at that time. At that point yet. Like I was working my way up from a PA to become a producer.
Okay.
And so I was dealing more with like the supervision of the entire department.
So
yeah.
No, that's a big deal. So you basically was the kind of the management for the whole editing team? Explain that to us.
Right, yeah. So my journey, when I was at that company, I was able to see how basically the entire post world worked, which I am so incredibly grateful for, because that is what has helped me build my current business with my partner now. And so I oversaw editors, I helped oversee editors, I helped oversee producers, AEs. Like we had at that place, I will say I made my way up to a coordinator. We had about 40 edit bays. So wow. 40 edit bays, 40 editors and producers. Plus, that's not including like support staff. I know. So there was a time where I think I was working on like 7 TV shows that were being broadcasted at once.
So Mia, it sounds like your trajectory. Okay, like if a normal person's trajectory, I'll try to do this backwards since I know camera's looking at us, is like this, right? I feel like yours is like boom, like straight up. Yeah. And Walter's is like still right here though. Oh. I'm just kidding.
It's actually no, it's true. It's actually going like this and went here. And now that I'm sitting next to Arlene, it's going like this.
I mean,
there's a spike there, right?
There's a downward spike.
There's a spike up. Uptick.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's so crazy, like to hear how many people, you were really managing at such an early, like time frame wise, such an early part of your career, and my goodness, it's and the types of shows that you were doing at this point, were they were they reality? Were they TV or television shows? Reality shows?
They were mainly reality. Yeah, at that time when I was helping. With those 7 shows simultaneously, that was a coordinator position where there were 40 edit bays, producers, editors.
The 40 gave it away. I was like, whoa, they have that.
What age were you at the time, if you don't mind me asking?
I think I was like 23. I want to say I was like 23. Yeah.
Y'all, we're behind. We're behind on the curve right now.
Well, it's that thing that they say in production, right? Like you get thrown in and you sink or you swim.
Amen.
And that's just. I didn't really even know that I was being pushed into anything. I was just like, okay, I'm here. Let's get whatever we need to do done. And I didn't even know that was not normal.
Yeah, I mean, I will give it to you. That's a hustle. Like you were working. It's a rare story, correct? But you hustled and you got the gig. Because at 23, I think I was still sobering up from the party the other night. And you were there making stuff happen. And which actually makes me think of a question for you. So, what advice would you give people about, should they perform? Should they go to film school? Should they go to or just work in the industry? Like, what's your opinion on that?
Ooh, that's a heavy question because
Deep.
I don't want to tell
Loaded.
anybody not to go to school. I'm not saying not to go to
She
school.
said, "Don't go to school, guys."
I just edited it, so I said don't go to school. I will speak from my authentic self and my experience that I didn't go to school for this. So I just hustled. But I know that you need to have certain characteristics, certain traits, certain like
Qualities.
certain things that I call intangibles. I always say this when I hire people. I want to know if they've got the intangibles. I want to know if they've got things that you can't teach somebody. I can teach someone how to do a spreadsheet, how to operate a camera. I can't teach someone how to be there when it's crucial and how to like show up. And what I mean by show up is like truly be an asset to that team, not just be like, oh, hey, yeah, I'm here. You know, so my advice would be if you want to go to school, great, still network. Try to do as many projects as possible without like conflicting with your school schedule, because the more exposure you get, the more opportunities that you'll give yourself, and it becomes a numbers game. And it becomes like, okay, so if I do X amount of projects a year, I'm going to be exposed to this many people, and from there, who knows what could happen after I graduate. I will say though, you don't have to go to school if you can find your way onto a job as a PA. Highly recommend that. I even said this as a supervisor when I would always say, if I was ever in between jobs, and I really wanted something that bad, I would offer to work for someone for free that I really admired. Not like just anybody.
Sorry,
Some dude on
Talens.
Craigslist
Right,
or
right,
something.
right.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Talens.
no.
That's a no.
But you know, like if let's say I had an opportunity to work for like, I don't know, Steve Jobs, I mean RIP, but like,
yeah.
you know, I would have done that for free if I had been in between jobs, just because I know that exposure would have gotten me something invaluable.
Yeah.
So if you're not going to go to school, I would say like hustle. You have to network. I mean, I'm writing articles right now about this. Practical advice on how to get into the industry without going to school in a practical way. Because it's easy to just say, get a PA job, right? So it's not,
Right.
it's not always that easy. So yeah, I guess I could send you the link to my article.
Mark her words, guys. And this is a person who hires people. So
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like when I hire people, I don't look at their school. Is that weird? Is that bad to say? I don't care about where they went to school. I care about their previous work experience and if they've got these intangibles that I'm talking
I
about.
passed the test, guys.
She did with flying colors. Yeah. I mean, I saw me and Tom are still like, dang, can we get Arlene back?
I mean, yes, it's possible. It's possible.
Well, hold on. My client requests that the raise.
Oh, are you the agent? Are you taking the 10%?
I'm a PA agent now.
You're the 10%.
When you are looking, because that was one thing that I noticed, you know, when I was working for you and Tom, was that when you feel that there's like a need to add more people on, do you just go off of recommendations? Do you do you see the potential like pretty quickly, or how quick is it for you when you do your interviews that, okay, this is the person for the job that needs to get done?
I usually know right away. I usually know a lot of it is vibes, if you're going to vibe with this person, because you're going to spend so much time with them, you know. So you want to make sure that you feel like you're going to be on the same page, but also like they just get it. And Arlene, you just always get it. Like you just.
I am part psychic, guys.
Yes, she's amazing.
Got that
Like
third eye.
she should be on everybody's team.
You know what she just said, right? She just said she read your mind, and
yeah.
that's she just.
So she just,
vibed
like-
it. She was cheating, really.
Okay, so she like implanted that thought.
She was inceptioned.
Yes. Well,
You'll learn one day, Talens, one day.
Teach me, master.
Well, I'll teach you after your hand modeling gigs.
Hey, look at these hands. I don't know what to do with them.
ring on it. That's what you do, right? That's where
Yeah,
the
there you go.
Beyonce
You gotta
dance.
show it off too.
Happens, guys.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting for someone to
Are you waiting for Lindsay to tell me on my
put a ring on it. It's
Lindsay,
modern
you heard it
times,
first
guys.
here.
It's modern times. Women should be able to be comfortable to propose to the man.
And by
Oh,
the
they
way,
are, but they don't have to.
By the way, Mia is engaged,
Oh yes.
and
Sorry, guys.
she's
Sorry.
an avid traveler. And where are you getting married at? Would you like to? Can you say? Can you say?
Yeah, I'm getting married. That's so funny. I'm getting married in a castle in Italy on a lake. Stunning.
By you saying that, though, you do know that people in the Philippines be like, why not the Philippines?
I know. Trust me, I'm already like hearing it from my family. I know if I could, I'd have like 3 weddings. You know, I'd have one in the
I mean,
Philippines.
you could.
I could.
You could just do receptions everywhere.
Yes, I could. I was even trying to figure out like how can I get them all over to Italy. Yeah, because family is important to me, and I would love everyone to be there. It will be a small wedding, but yeah, we were really lucky with the venue, and we found it like a week or 2 within becoming engaged because we were already in Italy.
What city?
It's a place called Lake Garda. It's the largest lake in Italy, and it's
Fun
basically-
fact, guys. Fun fact.
Fun fact. It's basically like a Lake Como. It's
Nice.
it's that kind of vibe, basically. Yeah. So
Can I tell a funny story about that?
Sure.
So Tom.
Tom.
So
Oh yeah. Should we
Tom-
establish that my partner in
yes.
business is also my fiance?
Yes, and he is
And it's
such
not-
a sweet man.
It's not
He's-
Tom from MySpace, by the way, guys.
Yeah.
No.
Although I heard he lives in Sawtell, so kind of close
Oh.
by.
Oh.
Word on the street.
We're on street. Sorry, continue your story.
Sorry. Rodney told me that. Anyways, yeah, so when I was working for Tom and Mia, and I was just kind of, I don't know where you were. You might have been like out somewhere, but
Yeah.
it was just me and Tom. And
Yeah.
and I was asking him about like, wedding planning. He's like,
Yeah.
we just happened to be in Italy, and I just proposed, and we went to go look at this castle, and then there was this bride getting
Oh
married.
yes. This story. Yes.
There's
Yes.
a bride getting married, and how did you find out more info?
Oh, that's so funny. Okay, so yeah, we're at the castle, and I'm like, it would be nice to have a wedding here. And as we're there, we're like, oh, there is a wedding happening right now. Okay, so I admired them from afar, and I was thinking how magical of a place it is to have a wedding there. And then I somehow saw the bride by herself. Like she was just hanging out, waiting for, I don't know, maybe her car, maybe, I don't know, but it was post-wedding for sure.
Yeah.
So I think they were like waiting to go to the reception, but she was by herself, which I thought was really, I don't know, maybe that was the universe. That was
serendipitous.
Yeah, exactly, that's the word. And so I just went up to her, as a producer does, and I was like, hi, congratulations, you're beautiful and your wedding's beautiful, and how did you do your wedding here? And
See that go-getter attitude,
Yeah.
guys?
and again, like sometimes it comes off, I guess, being naive, and maybe sometimes that comes off as being bold. I don't know, but it typically works for me.
Nice.
And she was so sweet and so helpful. She gave me her wedding planner's information.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And so I think it was within the week, I had already talked to the wedding planner and solidified everything.
Wow.
I feel like every time you ask the universe for something, it happens, and in a week, it's like
Done.
Like, yeah.
Right. And
I've asked for Gal Gadot, and it still hasn't happened.
are you looking in the right places? Are you looking?
Just put it out there again. Well, actually, wedding. It's Italy's a beautiful country and city.
Country, it's a country.
Well, no, but the city that she's talking about. See what I have to deal with there. See what I have to deal with there.
She keeps you on your toes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's actually I highly recommend too, and not that you're gonna change your plans, but what's really great is have you been to any of the Baltic countries like Latvia, Lithuania,
yeah,
and,
no, not yet.
Estonia, Lithuania, Vilnius is a really beautiful
Vilnius.
city, and it's when I went there, the first time I went there was like tons of weddings happening in like
Really?
old city,
In
old city center, and it
Lithuania.
looks-
This is
Lithuania. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Beautiful city, and it's,
Honeymoon.
there you-
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
highly recommend it. And because it looks like a medieval town, like they
Yeah.
rebuilt it.
I'm all about that kind of stuff, especially because we don't have that in America.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We have medieval times. So. Team Blue.
Well, now they have a queen.
Yes.
Instead of a king. Another fun
As
fact.
they should.
Really?
Yeah, instead of a king.
Field trip.
Yeah, there you go. Let's do it.
Next episode.
Next episode
Rodney.
Voices.
Dela.
Rodney, you see this?
Live.
Live in Renaissance, whatever, medieval times. Plug.
Sponsor.
We can get a sponsor, medieval times.
Yes.
Yeah. Be like, hey guys, why don't you have Filipinos in your show, huh?
Are you going to be the knight? Maybe you'll be the first.
I'll be
Jester.
the Igorot.
What?
Like
That was not
Igorot.
during medieval times.
I'm
fool.
sure they existed.
No.
Someone brought them in a boat. I don't know. It just got put on tangent. Sorry.
You could be the halftime show.
There you go.
The disc jockey.
See,
The MC.
you're the producer. Let's make this happen.
Yes. I'll be your agent.
There you go. Let's
Yeah.
do this.
I really love how, every time you're on vacation, you're still like finding like great opportunities and that hustle is always there.
Yeah.
Because did you guys go to Italy for vacation or did you guys, were you guys partly working there when you guys went that trip?
We're always on a working holiday, I feel like. So we went there because Tom, he's English, he's a Brit, but he also has Italian roots. And so we typically go there once or twice a year to visit his family.
Cool.
And so we were already on the way. We were in Italy to be with family.
Nice.
And I don't think we worked on that trip. Yeah, we didn't work on that trip. However, we do work a lot on our trips, actually. Like, we went back to England in December, and we were working on Christmas Day. Like,
Yes.
legit Christmas Day. Can I just say that we were in a very sweet, charming place in England. It was a town, like a village, and there's not very strong Wi-Fi there. And so we had a client that had an emergency and was like, we need this right away, back in the States. And we're like, okay. So we finished the cut and we're like trying to figure out how are we going to get this to them. And we tried the upload and it was like the ETA on the upload was, I think it was like 19 hours.
Oh my
Ooh.
God.
Yeah, for like a 3-minute cut or something like that.
What?
Yeah, it was
Had
insane.
Dial up or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, exactly. So straight up like went into producer mode and was like, okay, how do we solve this? So I was like, let's find a hotel and let's go sit in their lobby and buy their high-speed internet. And that's what we did. So, yeah, I mean, like traveling while working does add a layer of complexity, but also I think strengthens your skills as a producer.
Right.
And you
I just remember overhearing, like, as you guys were packing, like, what hard drives were going with
Yeah.
you, which ones are staying.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Christmas, guys.
I know. And part of me wished that, we had a bit more time just with family, but it just comes with the territory and when you run your own company, it's your baby. Like you want to do everything for it,
Feed it, make it grow.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's not a problem to me to work on vacations because I love what I do, and then secondly, I feel like my clients are important, and I want to be accessible to them.
And I mean, I guess it's a nice thing too, the fact that, your fiance or the person you love works with you and
Yeah.
he understands. And if he had to work, you understand. Or you're both in the same situation together.
Yeah, that does add a layer of complexity working with someone that you love, which
Oh,
I've done another
nice.
podcast for, by the way, is like how to be in a business with someone, with your significant other is, it can be challenging for sure.
You guys make it look easy. Seriously, you guys are like, you guys are so sweet.
I think it's, because I respect him, I adore him, I love him, and I hope that he feels the same way about me.
Oh, he so does. I know you do. Too. I know.
But I think that is important to have that kind of mutual respect, and to know that you're you're always on the same team. Like, regardless of what happens, you want to be on the same page because you ultimately have the same goals.
Now, how would you say if you guys had creative differences in the past, or
Sure.
how do you guys try to resolve that?
Do we? No, I'm just kidding.
tell
No, we
us.
do. No, we do. In the beginning, it was kind of feeling out, okay, who
Like the roles
yeah,
that
the
you guys
roles,
were going to take on.
right? Yeah, and like picking your battles. What is like? He and I both are respectful of each other, but I know that if he's really fighting hard for something, that it means that much to him. Like, do I care that much? Like, I weigh out, like, how much does he care versus how much did that note really bother me? Did that, or that thing in the project, does that bother me more than it bothers him, or does he want it more than I want it, and vice versa. So if I'm fighting, because I usually don't fight for super, super hard, but if I fight hard for something, he'll listen. And I think that's what it really comes down to, is just making sure that both people are heard. And ultimately, to me, it's not even about what we want, it's about what the client wants.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
So sometimes, like, I might not even agree with what our clients want to do, but they're our client, they're paying us. So.
And Tom's background is in editing. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
Tom's an amazing editor. He has been an editor for, I want to say, like 15, 20 years. And yeah, he's done everything from like adverts to documentaries to big network shows. Now he's working on his own feature. It's amazing. And yeah, so he's been all over with different genres.
Can you tell us a little bit more of like the different types of clients and projects
Sure.
that you guys have worked on?
Yeah, so a lot of our projects are development projects. So we help people sell TV shows, essentially, is like a big part of our company, even though we do a lot of different things. Some of it is our development slate. So we'll basically do like sizzle reels for people, and then they'll take that and try to sell their TV show. And we've had some successes with that, and we celebrate our client successes.
Like, can you name some of these clients, and like, what are the budgets of these sizzle reels?
Previous clients have been, like, a big client for us is Lionsgate. We actually work with, I want to say, 3 different teams at Lionsgate. And MGM we've worked with before. We do a lot of work for NBC Peacock, and Rogue Atlas Productions and Magical Elves. We have an amazing list of clients that we've been so lucky to have and nurture these relationships. In terms of budget, it really depends on the project. Yeah.
What's the biggest one you would say, if you can say?
I don't think I can say.
What's the smallest one?
Ooh, I don't think I can say.
$1,000.
Oh yeah, no, we wouldn't. We probably wouldn't do that.
I'm just kidding.
We probably wouldn't.
For
take on
people
that
who
job.
don't know, explain to them what is a sizzle reel.
Sure. So like a sizzle reel is basically like a trailer for something that, for a show or a film, a project that doesn't exist yet. So a client will give us a script with, hopefully they do, most of the time they do, and footage, or maybe they don't give us footage, and then we create it. We're basically creating something out of nothing. So we do offline editing, we do graphics, we do the VO, we do everything. So instead of having to, like, let's say you're a client, let's say you're Lionsgate, and you have this TV show in mind that you want to get picked up, instead of you giving us to do the editing, then you also have to go find your own VO guy. Then you also have to go find your own graphics person. Then you also have to find like a bunch of other things, like someone to put a deck together. Like, we can actually do all of that. So you're just talking to one person, me.
It's a one-stop shop.
So
then.
it's a one-stop shop. And that also not only does that streamline the process, it streamlines the schedule. So our turnaround can be super fast.
Wow.
And then it also you don't have to worry about finding an edit bay, having to rent an Avid system or whatever editing system that you want to work on. You don't have to, like, we provide all of that. Basically, we have clients like we didn't meet for years. Because they just emailed us a script and we just went with it and we just would send them cuts. And that was it. Yeah. And yeah, I want to say there's a couple clients I still actually haven't met, but we've known each other for years.
And you just digitally send them the finished product.
Yeah.
And
That's so true. I dropped off a gift at one of the big studios, and the person was like, "Oh, are you Mia?" I'm like, "Oh no."
Yeah.
Like,
Oh right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I was like, "No, I'm not her."
So yeah, oh my God, Arlyn, you really saved me with that. So we sent out every Christmas. We tried to give our clients gifts, and we were just so bogged down with work that I had no one to run to drop off these gifts. So Arlyn just really stepped up and was like, "Well, I'll just drop them off," and yeah, sometimes I haven't even met the client. So
There's still glitter in my car from the ribbon.
Oh my God.
that I used to decorate.
At least it's pretty.
It is really I do have a question about social media and how you balance that with business and your personal life.
Yeah. It's hard to balance that.
It's a lot of work, right?
It is.
To maintain social media.
It is, because I monetize my social media. So what that means, I'll work with brands to promote a product or a service on my social media. And I don't have a crazy huge following or anything. I don't have like 100,000 followers, but I do have a niche in the market. And so I schedule out certain posts, but then I also want to be authentic and show people a glimpse of like my world, but also still try to have it look pretty as in a feed, So a lot of times I'm starting to wonder, like, if people want to see more of like the nitty gritty stuff, or if they just want to see like the pretty stuff, like the pretty travel stuff, or like the real like hair pulled up, no makeup, 2:00 in the morning.
She always looks fabulous
like,
at all times of day.
We'll see. At night, like, working the crazy late nights, like, do people want to see more of that? Because that is authentic, that is real for me. And Arlyn can attest to the fact that she's gotten emails from me at like 3 a.m. And I'm not saying that you have to respond. I never expect a response.
I feel like half the time I was awake anyway.
Yeah.
I'm on team no sleep as well. So.
I think
she's a beast.
I think you just gave me an idea of like just my Instagram, but the real me, and just a horde, as many horrible pictures of myself as I can. Just like that's
the real
theme.
me.
Yeah, the real me.
I'll just photobomb all of them.
Yeah, there you go. They'll be like,
they know
why
it's
are you
real.
there? I just want to ask you before we start closing this down, but like
Sure.
I just want to coming from reality, how do you feel about entertainment in general? Like and the representation of Asian Americans or Filipino Americans in, it could be reality shows or even in entertainment in general. And how do you think, how important do you see that?
Oh my God, it's incredibly important, I think. I mean, we as a whole is so underrepresented, and there's so many of us. We want to see stories, we want to relate to stories, and not just because we've gone through it, but it does really help when that person looks like you or looks like someone it's a cousin, it's an aunt, it's an uncle. It's really, really important. And so it's important to have projects that do showcase Filipinos more, to me. And or even on the back end, like, it'd be great to have, like, to see that credit roll at the end and like know that like so many of those last names are Filipino, or even just or any ethnicity, really, just more diversity in general.
Now, is there in any projects or things you want to plug and let the audience members know that you're working on?
I have a blog coming out, and this is going to be geared more towards career goals, help advice, practical advice. I'm going to try to make it so that it's not just like be a PA, find a job as a PA.
Yeah.
Like things that could actually really be useful. Because when I came to LA, I had no help. I didn't know really anyone to guide me. And so I think these tips would really, really help people get established, or even just like use their make their trajectory like even better than it is now.
Can you share your social media and for people to follow? How can they follow you?
Oh yeah, so I'm on Instagram. My handle is @ Mia Cortez, and then Facebook, just find me as Mia Cortez.
Okay, Mia. So we have a really quick 4-question lightning round questionnaire for you. All right.
All right, I'm
You
ready.
have to respond as fast as you can. First
Okay.
thing that pops in your head. All right.
All right.
What's your favorite food?
Sinigang.
Oh. That's gonna be my question.
Sorry.
Oh.
Okay. And what is your favorite vacation spot?
El Nido.
Ooh, I like. Okay. You have one?
It's fine. You can edit it. Just edit it.
Sorry, Rodney. Forgive me.
Filipino food spot.
Oh yeah, favorite Filipino food spot in LA.
In LA. Ooh. LA Rose Cafe.
Okay, very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Favorite Filipino food, actor, or song?
What?
Food, actor, or
You
song.
should choose.
Polvoron. I don't know why. And Choconut. And Yema. And yeah.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Bacilias. And
Oh my goodness.
Halo Halo. Oh my God, Halo Halo. Can I get Halo Halo now? Is there a Filipino food spot over here somewhere?
It's
we're in
your
Hi-Fi,
historic
girl.
Filipino
Yeah.
town.
We're in
girl.
high five.
Halo Halo for the whole round. A whole round of Halo Halo.
All right. Well, thank you for playing Flash Round with us in Voices. Again, everyone, this is Mia Cortez. I'm Walter Talens.
And I'm Arlyn Dela Pena.
And you guys are watching Philam Creative's podcast, Voices. You can follow us on Twitter and on Instagram as Philam Creative. Follow us, join us, subscribe. Bye.